Hello, my name is Stephen Krawczyk, and this is my honors project, Idolmasters Reforged. It is a clicker game that is basically an RPG game, like Dungeons & Dragons or Diablo, but it's distilled into a simple button-clicking UI. Background on this project is it's an evolution of my Bootstrap portfolio project. It is inspired by Melvor Idol. It's built with React, and it also uses React Redux, and Spring. So we'll go to the showcase. This is the splash screen, and you load, you come straight to here. To start the game, right, we have to create a save. So we can create a save here. It's got a brief blurb on how to play the game. Right, these are safeguarded, so you do need to actually put a name in. You put a name in there, and it'll bring us to the game. If we go back to it, right, we can delete that save. There'll be a modal to confirm you want to do that. We'll start it up again and go back into the actual game. Now we have the activity tabs here. So all the activities roll up into each other. So combat is sort of the top tier activity. It'll take resources or time in the other activities to be able to accomplish it. It all kind of rolls up that way. So fishing, this is the base activity. It doesn't cost you anything to do, and it rewards you fish. You can use fish as a consumable, as you'll see come up here. These consumable items, right? You click on it, it'll use it once, and then it will grant you stamina. So those are safeguarded. Right, we can use one. I'm already at 100% stamina, so I get to keep it all. But I can't use any more fish now that I'm down to 0, which is kind of usually a thing in RPG games. They'll let you use an item. Right. If you don't have, you can't use it, but if it's going to have no effect, you can still waste it. So we'll take a look at the other activities these roll up into, right? Every activity above fishing takes stamina. Foraging will give you herbs. Herbs are used in making health potions when you lose health from combat. Logging gives you logs, and logs are used in the alchemy and smithing. Mining gives you ore. Ore is used in smithing. Alchemy is used to make health potions, which your health is reduced in combat. If you don't have enough health, you won't be able to perform any more combat, so you have to come back here and craft them. Smithing increases your gear level, so gear level will increase the speed that you can perform activities, and it also, you need a high enough gear level against your combat level so that you don't start losing health at a greater rate. So when we're in combat, if our combat level is 2 and our gear level is 1, then we're under leveled on our gear, and that means that we need to rank it up. Otherwise, the amount of health you lose per loop will be higher. The amount of health you lose in that loop as well is randomized in that range. So when this activity loop runs, it can be stopped if you run out of the resources required. So if we ran out of stamina, like this takes 15 every time, or if we didn't have health, then we would no longer be able to perform the activity, and it would stop at that loop. It can also be stopped by clicking the button, and it can also be stopped by moving to a different activity. We don't want that running in the background. So that's all controlled in the store. So the biggest challenge in this project by far was this activity bar, or progress bar. And we'll step over to the code to look at how that works. So we have the code up here. The loading bar uses a use effect. Right, that use effect is on the elapsed amount of time. So we have a timeout that gets triggered every time elapsed changes. So that's essentially a tick on the timer, and that allows us to maintain access to the state variables using a use interval. Right, you would lose the context to everything that's current. That was one of the problems I had at the beginning. It took me a little bit to figure that one out. Right, this also had to be accessible from the buttons outside of the progress bar. So we have this is running. So is running is from a selector. When that changes, right, is monitored by the use effect. Then it can trigger the start or stop loop functions. Right, the other kind of issue with this was everything is stored in local store and it's kind of rehydrated from the local store when you select your save from the splash screen. So that's important that I didn't use like React Router or something that would allow you to go right into the game. I wanted you to go through the splash screen to pick your save every time. That way that all gets rehydrated. Right, and everything else is basically performed through selectors or going through dispatching producers. Right, so loading saves, updating everything, the buttons, everything is driven off of this store. The store has these generic outlines for activities which contain everything about them. What is consumed, what is rewarded from activities, right? That's all programmatic. So I could copy and paste, add a new ID in here, and that's all it takes to add another activity. Right? Of course, there are some caveats with like the health that's randomized, but that would be required for anything that isn't just a static plus or minus reward. So that makes everything simple to maintain and to expand upon. Right, so in the future, I'd like to add proper backend so users can log in and authenticate and keep the local store and everything just in case we want to use a guest account and make the game still playable without signing up. But I'd like to also add a few more animations to pretty it up. I think this one ran over a little bit, but thanks for taking time to view it. Have a good day.